What's going on, guys? Jeff here from Mad Hatter's Reef, and today what we're going to do is take a look at the top 10 saltwater fish that you should avoid. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day, and if you're new to what we're doing here, this is where we talk about everything reef tank related. So if you love reef tanks like I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 saltwater fish that you should not put in your reef tank. Now, before we jump into this top 10, I wanted to add a little bit of context to the idea behind this video. My hope for this list is that it's going to help educate people that are new to the hobby, people that have been in the hobby only for a short amount of time, and help those folks potentially avoid making a mistake with purchasing one of these animals and not have the knowledge or skill set to take care of it. So let's jump into our top 10 list of fish that are best suited for experts only. Coming in at number 10 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish for your reef tank is the Princess Anthias. Now, this fish is considered difficult to keep. It's peaceful in its temperament. The coloration is absolutely amazing. You can see here the pinks into the yellows with the yellow dots, and the fins are absolutely just a beautiful fish. It is considered reef safe, but like most Anthias, its diet is what makes it difficult to keep. It requires a plankton type food in the size of 1.5 millimeters offered frequently throughout the day, and that's really what makes it hard to keep. Not to mention that it doesn't do very well in quarantine, and this is a pretty rare fish. The fact that it needs to be kept in small groups is going to contribute to the idea that it isn't going to do very well in a reef aquarium, especially kept by somebody who is relatively new to the hobby. Coming in at number 9 on our top 10 saltwater fish that are hard to keep is the blue boxfish. Now, this fish has a peaceful temperament, is an omnivore, it is reef safe with caution. So it's one of those fish that you're not 100% certain what you're going to get when you get it. It can grow up to 10 inches, so it's absolutely huge. The minimum tank size for this fish is 180 gallons. Now, the problem with the boxfish is not that it is a hard to keep fish. It doesn't require special foods or hundreds of feedings throughout the course of a day. That's an exaggeration. The problem with this fish is if it becomes stressed. If it's stressed, it actually produces a toxic, poisonous substance on its skin, and it can absolutely decimate your tank. So if this is a species that you would like to keep, it's probably going to be better off to be kept alone in a species-specific setup. Coming in at number 8 on our top 10 hard-to-keep saltwater fish for reef tanks is the regal angelfish. Now, this is a fish that can grow upwards of 10 inches and typically needs a tank of 150 gallons or more. And the reason that this fish is so hard to keep is the fact that it simply just doesn't do well in captivity and often flat out refuses to eat, which eventually it succumbs to nutritional deficiencies. So in the grand scheme of things, this is a fish that's probably just better off to be left in the ocean and not attempted to be kept in a confined space such as an aquarium. Coming in at number 7 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish is the Orangespotted Filefish. Now, the Orangespotted Filefish grows to 4.5 to 5 inches long and can be kept in a 55-gallon aquarium. Now, the interesting thing about this fish is its diet. Now, this fish feeds on the polyps of SPS corals. That makes for a very tricky dynamic in your reef tank, because most of us that keep saltwater aquariums like to keep SPS corals. But if you are interested in keeping a orange-spotted filefish, you need to be able to figure out and plan for to be able to feed this fish, and not only that, but have a sustainable food source for this fish, because it'd get pretty expensive if you were just going to the store and buying even the cheapest SPS coral and bringing it back to the fish and letting it chew it up and then just constantly repeating that process. That aside, this is probably one of the coolest looking filefish that I have ever seen, and I think it would be pretty interesting to have in a reef tank. I'm just not willing to sacrifice my SPS corals for it. Coming in at number 6 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish is the blue ribbon eel. Now, this eel can grow upwards of 4 feet and can be kept in an aquarium as small as 75 gallons. Pretty interesting dynamic there. 4-foot fish in a 75-gallon tank. Now, the blue ribbon eel comes in a number of different colors. The juveniles are black until they mature, and females are yellow and males are blue. So with that, there's a lot of different variations of this eel when it is coloring throughout its life. Now, as far as some ideas for keeping an eel, it's better off to have plenty of hiding places. And if this is a fish that you plan on keeping, it's not a bad idea when you're setting up the tank to actually take PVC or lengths of PVC to have them worked into the rock work underneath the sand bed so it can completely hide itself, because this is a pretty timid fish. Even though that it is an eel, it does prefer live foods, and in some cases will not accept food altogether, and that's why it's typically regarded as a harder to keep fish. Coming in at number 5 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish is the Harlequin Sweetlips. Now, as far as coming in at number 5, I probably wouldn't have done it with this fish, but this is a fish I've actually seen at Petco available for sale. So I feel like it's important to talk about this fish and ultimately how unideal it is for a saltwater tank. Now, this fish can grow upwards of 28 inches long. It requires a tank of 500 gallons or better, and that's probably a little on the small side. The other problem with this fish is this picture actually doesn't do it justice. They are phenomenal looking fish, and their swim pattern is absolutely amazing. It makes it look even more attractive, and a lot of people that would see this fish in person would actually want to buy it. And the survival rate of these fish aren't that great. They're actually kind of hard to get them to eat. The ones that do eat, they need a huge aquarium. So you're dealing with a fish that's going to get absolutely huge, and their ability to survive in a home aquarium is probably slim to none. And it's just a large fish and really should just be left in the ocean. Coming in at number 4 on our top 10 saltwater fish that are hard to keep is the Mandarin Dragonet. This is probably hands down the hardest fish to keep that is most frequently found in a fish store. And a lot of people see this fish and they absolutely fall in love with it. Its swimming is unique, the way its personality is unique, and its colors are absolutely phenomenal. The problem with this fish is its feeding requirements, and at this point in this video, we're almost 8 minutes into it now. Most of the fish that are hard to keep, it comes down to their individual personality and their feeding requirements. If it's a docile fish that needs live or rare food, that is something that is going to make it more difficult to keep that fish. The Mandarin Dragonet needs a steady population of copepods. So even though that it's ideal for a tank size of 20 gallons, that doesn't mean that that tank size is going to have a good population of copepods. So unless you have that ability to access copepods and constantly be introducing them to the tank, this is a saltwater fish that you probably want to avoid. Coming in at number 3 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish is the Longfin Anthias. Now, this fish is absolutely stunning. It grows to 2.5 inches and requires a tank of 55 gallons or bigger. And this is a deep water species of Anthias, which 9 times out of 10 when we have problems with this fish, it is due to some type of swim bladder issue from being raised up from the depths too quickly. So if you are at the local fish store and you see this fish swimming oddly, it's probably best to avoid it. This fish requires ample feeding, so it needs to be fed at least 5 times a day. Lots of hiding spaces, and definitely does better in groups of 5 or more with 1 male and several females. The crazy thing about this fish is this picture actually doesn't even do it justice, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Coming in at number 2 in our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish is the Exquisite Butterflyfish. Now, this fish grows upwards of 5 inches and requires a tank of 125 gallons or more. This fish is absolutely beautiful. The drawback is it eats coral. That's what it needs for food. It eats LPS, it eats SPS, and it has a special desire for aquapora. And it has been recorded that this fish has taken 90 bites out of an SPS coral in 20 minutes. 90 bites. That is insane. So if you have some deep pockets and aren't really that big on coral and think that this fish is absolutely amazing, it's probably the right fish for you. Coming in at number 1 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish is the Spikefin Goby. Now this little guy grows a max of 1 inch. That's right, 1 inch. It requires a tank of 2 gallons or more. You're actually better off to have this in a smaller tank because they are prone to just disappearing in the tank and never being seen again. So if it were me, I definitely would be putting this little guy in a small Pico Reef, probably species-specific display tank, and keeping the hiding spaces to a minimum. With all that aside, this is probably one of the most gorgeous gobies I have ever seen in this hobby. And that's why it's coming in at number 1 on our top 10 hard to keep saltwater fish. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this week's video. I want to thank you for joining me. If you're new to the channel, again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I'll see you next time right here with a brand new video.